Today is the 1-year anniversary of trading Christian McCaffery for the Carolina Panthers to the San Francisco 49ers. A lot has happened in a year, hasn't it?
I miss him. Feels just like yesterday.
Still haven't gotten over him, huh?
I mean, I know I'm only 15, but to me, this kind of feels like the equivalent of when you watch your first child go to college.
Oh.
And you're just like, man.
Came back for the summer, now he's going back for
exactly.
sophomore year.
That's exactly right.
Today is the 1-year anniversary of the Panthers trading Christian McCaffery to the Niners. The only thing that's remained constant for the Panthers over the last year, and even a little before the McCaffery move, is consistent big swings, big changes, I think one thing's going to fix it all moves, which is just not possible.
And then lean to mediocrity.
And ending up where they are. Let's be real. Mediocrity would be you need a ladder to get up to that level, right? They're 0-6 and don't have their first-round pick. I think they would be very, very, very pleased to be mediocre at this point. But let's go back to, again, like I said, it didn't start with the Christian McCaffery move, but it's a good chance to kind of observe and look at the big picture, right? Because it's just big move, big move, big move. And when that happens, you get almost lost in it, right? You can't see the forest for the trees because the trees are redwood. It's a big move. Let's start with the firing of Matt Rule, okay?
That's one thing to celebrate.
Fired Matt Rule a handful of weeks into the season last year. That's a big move, right? That's, hey, we don't like the way this is going. We're going to do something big, something crazy in order to sway our fortunes in a big way. Couple weeks later, what do? They trade Christian McCaffery, their best offensive player. That's a big move. That's a big swing. That's hey, we don't like the way things are going. We're going to make a big move to try to sway our fortunes. 1-year anniversary of that move was today. A 2023 second, a third, and a fourth, and a 2024 fifth round was the pick. Then, after the season, they hire Frank Reich. Then they hire an all-star assistant coaching job. Each of these moves, big moves that are supposed to sway the entire fortunes of the franchise. Frank Reich was the veteran. Frank Reich was the coach that had seen it all, done it all. He's been a part of a Super Bowl champion with the Eagles. He had 5 different quarterbacks of all different varieties with the Colts and to varying degrees of success. They brought in Frank Reich to change the whole fortunes of the franchise. Then they gave Frank Reich a blank check and said, go get the best coaches you can find. They got Evero from a very good defense on the Broncos. They went and got Thomas Brown from the Sean McVay coaching tree, which has been so successful for so many other teams. They went and got somebody like Caldwell, who had said publicly the only jobs he would come out of retirement for, come back to coaching for, were head coaching jobs. But he came back to the Panthers for a senior offensive assistant role, which means, cha-ching, they made it worth his while. All this Deuce Staley and Josh McCown, we go on and on. What was that all-star coaching staff supposed to do? Change the entire fortunes of the franchise. Then they traded DJ Moore, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks for the number 1 overall pick, drafted Bryce Young. What was that supposed to do? Change the entire fortunes of the franchise. Now, on their bye week, they're changing play callers from Frank Reich to Thomas Brown. What is that supposed to do? Change the entire fortunes of the franchise. There is time between these moves, but not a lot of time. There is very little, when you get the microwave foods, right? It says, microwave for 3.5 minutes, let sit for a minute before eating. There's no letting anything sit with the Panthers. There's no letting anything cool. There's no stirring. If it's not ready right away, they're doing the throw it out, start again. Throw it out, start again. What's the next big thing we can do? The reason why I bring it up today is because on anniversaries, right? It's a time for reflection. 1 year ago today, the Carolina Panthers traded Christian McCaffery, who, still, if you walk around a game, if you walk around, a bar when there's a Panthers games on, there's a lot of Christian McCaffery jerseys.
I'd say it's almost the trademark jersey of the franchise behind Cam Newton.
I was going to say,
it's one of the most popular selling jerseys,
and they're still wearing them. And they traded him a year ago, so the the instinct is to say, all right, on the anniversary, right, on after 1 year, what was the impact of the Christian McCaffery trade, right? That's what, 20-year reunions are for, and that's what, 5-year retrospectives are for, and all those sorts of things. So on the anniversary, I wanted to look back and see what the impact of the Christian McCaffery deal was, but it's almost impossible to decide what the impact of the Christian McCaffery deal is because you don't know what big swing, big move to attribute it to. Right, you could say, without Christian McCaffery, the team has crumbled. But then it's like it also could be because of the coaches. It also could be because they traded everything away for a number 1 pick. It also could be because they traded DJ Moore. It also could, all of these things are massive swings. How about you make one? Right? How about you think long and hard about what is the best move for the franchise, and you do it if you feel like you have to, but then you let that seed grow. Right? You traded Christian McCaffery for future picks and then did 4 or 5 other blow up the franchise moves before you got to make the draft picks. Before you were using those draft picks to trade up. It's a little patience goes a long way. And the more and more we kind of dive in further and further into the cause of why the Panthers fan base is being so tortured, it comes back to that 4 horsemen of the franchise we talk about: the quarterback, the coach, the GM, and the owner not always being on the same page. And it seems like the top, tippy top, right, which would be the owner, David Tepper, his impatience is making it very, very difficult for them to show any kind of let's let this simmer. Right? Every single move, if it's not working like gangbusters right out the gate, all right, what are we changing? Now, I understand there are certain points where it's like we got to do something, right? There are certain points where, the changing of the play callers, if you would have just rolled through the bye week doing the same thing you were doing before the bye week, you would have lost a lot of enthusiasm. I understand sometimes you got to do something. But there's a difference between hey, we got to try something new, and, hey, let's trade away our 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and DJ Moore for Bryce Young. There's a spectrum between those two things.
Victoria, the producer of the Adam Gold Show, which you just heard here on 999 The Fan, she coined the term Panthers be Pantheon. Panthers be Pantherin.
Pantherin, yeah.
I got a new one.
Okay.
Big Panther energy.
Big Panther energy.
Just like that guy at the bar that, has had a little too much. He's like, I could beat you in an arm wrestling match, or if you want to mess around and find out, we can take it outside. Well, for the Panthers, messing around and finding out was trading away your best player, trading away your first-round draft pick, trading away DJ Moore, and look where it's got. They found out.
It's
now they're on the side of the curb getting their face iced.
It's misguided Big Panther energy, right? And it's the kind that everybody else in the bar is aware of. Right, it's like, one of the things that I say about bar fights is MMA fighters look like normal people in a hoodie.
Correct.
You don't know what their background is, but it's the equivalent of somebody that's so toasted, so 3 sheets to the wind that they don't recognize it's like Anderson Silva or something like that. And everybody else in the bar knows and is like, oh, this isn't going to go well. He's trying it with the wrong one. It's like everybody's looking at the Panthers going, I don't know if this is going to go well.
We went to the Super Bowl with Cam Newton with a 1-loss team, and
the wide receivers were no better for Cam than they are right now. And it's like, ooh, you're going to make a move, aren't you? Oh, you're going to make a big trade. I'm terrified that they're a big trade at the deadline. We're going to talk about trades that are possible. Everybody with common sense is saying Brian Burns is one of the most likely big pieces to move at the deadline. There's a way to do that with patience. You trade for picks. You trade for younger players. You trade for things that can mature and grow in value over time. The other way you could do it is trade a whole bunch of things for a win-now asset, and that, to me, is what an impatient franchise would do. I'm terrified that's what the Panthers are going to do. Got to win now. We're not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yet. We're only 0-6. That's the rest of the bar looking at you going, You know that's McGregor, right? You don't want to poke him in the chest more than once. What are you doing? That's what's happening right now. And the Christian McCaffery, that's 1 poke. The Bryce Young trade, that's 2 pokes. It's like if you poke him again, he's going to break your finger. Stop it.